People who are 40 plus and happy with their life. What is your advice to people in their 20s? Write what you would advise people in their 20s. What mistakes not to make. Waiting in the comments. Pleasant viewing. Story 1, do whatever TF you want. It's your life and you only get one. Don't settle, don't count yourself out, don't be afraid, don't assume there's time. If you want to do it now. Don't put your desires on the back burner. Story 2, I am 53 plus. Here it goes. 10 rules of sanity. Don't lose money. Money lost takes twice as much work to get back, not to mention the opportunity cost. Be patient. Listen to this guy. He is smarter than you probably ever will be. Spend as little money as possible. That which you save, invest wisely. In life and relationships, money will always be an issue. Solve it now while you are young. When in doubt, review rule #1. Learn to take care of your needs by yourself. If you cannot take care of your basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, by yourself, you are in no position to take care of others. If you see relationships as a way to share the load of life, you have failed before you have even started. And needs are not wants. You cannot know what you want unless you know and solve the need problem. See rule #3. Further, you need to know what you want before you can share a life with someone else. If your wants are not aligned, your relationships will be an endless grind of confusion as each of you look to the other for satisfaction. Avoid absolute metaphysical thinking in all its forms. There is no universal form of logic to the world. We live in a world of absolute individualism where each absolute individualist lives in their own isolated little religion. That is just the way it is. Don't listen to academics or philosophers about idealized logical forms. No mind is the way to go. Your body is your #1 asset. If you do not take care of it, it will not take care of you. If you are not athletically inclined, learn. Do yoga, soft martial arts, Pilates, or whatever. Advice: avoid the Western style of athletics. Western athleticism is a cult of pain and suffering, and you will lose. I know this because my father was a Bobby Knight clone. My brother and I suffered. We are still recovering. D. The Rock. Johnson is not your role model. Stay offline as much as possible. Mankind was not designed to be a sex slave to an inanimate object of his own creation. As someone who lived before and after IIT, I can say that this could be #1 on the list, but I think that would fall on deaf ears. Family is not that important. That is not to say that family cannot be a good thing, but many times it is not. Your family are just people. As rough as it may sound to say, they do not deserve special treatment. This is best summed up in the quote, "There is probably no more terrible instant of enlightenment than the one in which you discover your father is a man with human flesh." Frank Herbert, Dune. Don't focus on what you love. What you love comes easy and does not require focus or attention. Focus on what you are good at. No one but your mom cares about what you love doing. We, everyone else, only care about what you are good at, and we care a lot about that. We, everyone else, will give you lots of dollars if you share, profess profession, with all of us what you are good at. If what you love is also what you are good at, then hooray for you. But you would be surprised how often that is not the case. For example, I love playing basketball, but I am not good enough at it to have made it a profession. I only like working with computers, but I am damn good at it, so I get compensated well. Generalizing rule #9, focus on maximizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. This does not mean fix your weaknesses. Odds are that you will not fix. Bring those up to the level of excellence, your weaknesses. Minimizing your weaknesses means avoiding bring them to the table in the first place. This goes along with rule #9. Focusing solely on your weaknesses will consume you to the point where you will forget what is good about you. Understand your limits. Then adjust your behavior accordingly. All you need to do is know what your weaknesses are. Then work around them in the most pragmatic way possible. Story 342M here. Here's the main thing to do in your life. Have fun. Try to be outgoing and not care so much about other people's feelings towards you. Anxiety and depression is a bitch, and everyone will feel the effects of it at some point. Keep fit and healthy as possible. Don't become an alcoholic or heavy drug abuser. Money is always a problem. Don't worry about it too much. Story 4. Don't be in a hurry to finish school and start working. Travel around for a year while you're young. Enjoy your youth. Stuff comes in due time. Also, don't buy into the materialism thing. Driving a car you can't afford doesn't make you look successful. It makes you look like a mark. Story 5. Try not to stress too much. Work hard, but play hard too. It all works out in the end. So scrape together the money to see that concert or movie you want to see and try to enjoy the ride we call life. Also, get away from playing computer games all day. That's a time toilet. Been there. I'm 57 now and still often tight on money, but I'm happy and will always try to get out and do things. Story 6, I would have a few things to say. Every decision you make is a financial decision on some level. So learn about money. Set a hard budget. That $100 bar last weekend or eating dinner out all the time may seem convenient or fun, but if you manage your money better, you'll have some cushion in your later years. Stop taking the easy way out and settling. So many people rate their partners based on things that aren't as important as you think. Looks fade. Personalities change. If you and your partner don't truly love being together and doing things together and have each other's back and can communicate clearly, you'll end up divorced. That hot girl guy won't change. Ever. You're not changing anyone. What you see is what you get. So don't be surprised when you're 40 and divorced and bitter. Who cares what others think? You do what you need to do. That goes for every part of life. What you do, what you wear, who you're hanging with. Life isn't high school. Being cool doesn't matter. Go after what makes you happy and do it. Be a geek. Be yourself. You'll regret all the years you wasted being what you think others want you to be. Find your passions and do them. Go for it. Waiting for whatever the thing is that you need to happen to go do it means you'll waste decades waiting for it. Go. Do it now. Story 7. Don't get married too early. Don't have kids too early. As soon as you get your first real job, start saving for retirement. Every time you get a raise, up what you are saving so you don't notice the difference. Buy what you can afford. I never understood people who buy brand new, crazy expensive cars that they have to make a massive payment on every month. I've always bought used, dependable cars and have never had a car payment. Don't settle for anyone because you feel you are running out of time. Find your person. Took me until age 35 to find mine, and she lived across the country. Everything in moderation. Find a hobby, one that makes you happy and that maybe you can even make some side cash on. Painting, collecting, selling niche items, etc. Enjoy all the time with your friends and family. Once you start your own family, friends aren't around as much. Once you get older, family members start to pass away. Find a job career you enjoy that pays the bills versus making more and being miserable every day. Story 8. Don't be afraid to settle down and start a family. I put so much pressure, stress, and overwork on myself because I thought I had to take on the big city in my 20s, because that's what popular culture told me I was supposed to do. It's a massive lie. Don't buy into the hype that a life of constant material consumerism is a path to happiness. I've learned far too late that all that you'll ever have are the people you love and that love you back. Your career never will, your city never will, and the people involved in both are only interested in how much profit you can generate for them. Story 9. Don't feel pressured to get kids. People with kids will tell you that they are the joy of their life, and I completely believe them. But my life without kids is brilliant, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I have friends and colleagues with teenagers, and they are quite literally aging right in front of me. Worries about their school performance, about who they hang out with, bullying at school and social media, lack of discipline, refusing to eat properly, constantly taking any money that was intended for other things. I have none of those issues, and it is bliss. Story 10. Comparison is definitely the thief of choice. The ability to delay gratification is important, but balance that with finding joy now. Practice being happy so that when good things happen, you aren't out of practice and have forgotten how. You really are the same person at 45 that you were when you were younger, just in an older body. And if I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be to have faith. I spent too much time worrying, not to say that everything always worked out. Some did, some didn't. But the worrying did no good, and in some larger sense, everything worked out as I am still alive and capable of joy. I don't have everything I wanted or thought I would or should have, but it turns out that was okay. Story 11. If you feel like you're not heading in the right direction, reset now. Are you going to eventually become so disillusioned with that job that it'll affect your quality of life? Leave. Doesn't matter how long you've been there. Friendship, relationship with someone that's only partly there? Bye. Be selfish. I'm not saying ignore others, but don't make sacrifices you don't have to make. Cut out toxic people, even if they're immediate family members. I avoided all these things and lived my life for other people up until about 33. I'm 37 now, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Once I started focusing on my own finances and health, etc., life got so much easier. Now I'm in an extremely happy, healthy relationship, and my life has improved tremendously. I should have started way sooner. Just to be clear, I'm not saying don't help others. Help out as many people as you can, just not at great personal expense. Story 12. Work toward competence. Your 20s will include a lot of first-time experiences, both practical and social, emotional. Learn to navigate them well and your later years will be way less stressful. Just as an example, moving will always be awful, but it's way less awful if you've learned to plan ahead for reliable help instead of trying to bribe your friends with pizza a few days in advance. What competence looks like will depend a lot on your needs and resources, but there are always better or worse ways to plan your meals, file your taxes, nurture relationships, discuss uncomfortable topics, etc. Story 13. I am in my late 30s, but one thing I have noticed about people who are the happiest is they don't worry about their age. As someone mentioned below, they don't worry about the checkpoints, thinking you should be this and that by this and that age. It's such rubbish and honestly so tiring hearing from other people. When I see people say they're 25 and think their life is over because they don't have a career LOL, it's just try really, really hard to drop that shit. It's boring and makes you miserable. Just live your life. Story 14. Start putting money away now. You want to retire? It's going to take a lot more money than you think. Stay in shape, exercise, move. You're going to get older and things are going to start aging. Do yourself a favor and do what you can to help yourself. Stay in shape. Story 15. Invest. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. This is how it works. Put $100 into an index fund at 18 years old, it'll be $300 when you're 30 years old, $750 when you're 40 years old, $2,000 when you're 50 years old, and $5,500 when you're 60 years old. This is fire and forget, no playing the market, just riding the S&P stock market. Any money you lock in before 20 years old will multiply itself around 3x in 10 years, 8x in 20 years, 20x in 30 years, and 55x in 40 years. This is how the rich get richer, but it's also how normal people get rich. This is how you see some 20-year-olds with sport bikes and other 20-year-olds with investment portfolios. If worker could put away $20K by 20 years old, they could have enough for a home down payment by 30, or if they let it ride, it'll be $1 million when they're at retirement age. If they're disciplined enough to merely contribute $100/month after they hit 20 years old, then it'll be $4 million when they're 65 years old. If they put $200/month, then it'll be $6, $3 million when they're 65 years old. If you took just $1 and invested it at 20 years old, then invested only $1 every month for the next 50 years, you will have invested $601, and it will have grown into $17,500. This is how it works. Don't do that, and you don't have to fuck up to be broke. You're just fucked. Either you turn your earnings into ownership, or you are forever a proletariat instead of at least part of the bourgeoisie. Story 16. It's important to work hard in the right areas. You can't do it all, so pick where you're spending your energy. University student, work hard in your studies and get a less demanding job. Young parent, focus on your family. Your career can come later. I see many ambitious young people burn themselves out because they work too hard for too long. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Story 17. Happiness is fleeting. Inner peace is eternal. Happiness comes and goes. Don't hold on to happiness. Enjoy it when it's there and allow other emotions to flow through you as well. Don't get stuck dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. The only moment you have power over is now. Everything always works out eventually. Most people are concerned with themselves, so don't worry about what others think. Explore and learn who you are and what you enjoy. Do the things that make your heart sing as often as possible simply because you love it. Love and compassion for others is great, but you must give that to yourself first. Always take care of yourself first, so that you can take care of others. Give with no attachment. Feelings of resentment and possible anger can arise when you feel like you've given your all to someone, and when you need them the most, they are not there. Never give out of a state of lack. If you cannot give without feeling resentment, or as if you're sacrificing yourself, then don't give, unless you have no other choice. Don't give out of feelings of guilt. Don't let others manipulate you. Give when it feels good, without expecting anything in return. Learn to let go. It's okay to let go of relationships and things that are no longer serving you. Only through letting go can you allow new people and things to come in that is more compatible and in harmony with you. Just live. Life is both beautiful and challenging. Trust in yourself to make the right decisions. When you make mistakes, don't beat yourself up or dwell on it. Learn from the mistakes and keep going. Also, learn when to persist and when to quit. This may take some practice. Finally, decide to have a positive attitude so you can gain benefit from every circumstance and situation you encounter in life. Story 18. Save your money and be selective with the people you allow into your life, as they have more of an influence than you might realize. Let people prove who they are instead of blindly trusting because evil pretends to be good. Also, don't overshare aspects of your life to everyone. Keep your privacy and it can't be used against you. Story 19. I am a happy, successful, almost 40-year-old female, and I don't think I would ever change my approach. 20s are exploring yourself and your identity. Find what makes you happy and set your vision. 30s are for grinding. I had my child at 30 while simultaneously getting a huge leap in position title. I have stayed there since. I also started dumping into my savings and 401k. Bought a house too. 40s, I am here to coast. My house will be paid off in 6 years and I'm comfortable in my job. For the last 2 years, I have been focusing on my health, getting fit and getting strong. Best decision ever. Also, patience and self-discipline can do wonders. Story 20. Some minor stuff, but here goes. By all means, have interests, but avoid collecting things. Your collection of Funko Pops will end up in a storage box someday, representing hundreds if not thousands of dollars that in all likelihood get donated to Goodwill someday. If you must, instead of buying things, learn to make things. This in some ways contradicts the first rule, but here we are. If you must buy non-essential things, pay cash. Save up. Resist the temptation of 4 easy payments or just $25 a month. When you do splurge on those non-essentials, consider cost per use, not total cost. A $500 thing you've used 3 times cost more than a $3,000 thing you use every day. Wean yourself off of soda, Starbucks, boba, $5 a pop drinks that add up to thousands of dollars over time. And what's worse, start to taste the same over time. Water is your friend. Seltzer water if you must. Cars, computers, phones. I won't talk you out of buying new if your intention is to keep it long past the time when the manufacturer would have expected you to upgrade. If you remember that the quality is remembered long after the price is forgotten, then a little more cost up front is worth it if you delay ultimate replacement by a few years. If it floats, flies, or offs, it's cheaper to rent. Stay away from timeshares and multi-level marketing. There are no exceptions. Remember that you choose your friends, but not your family. As you get older, you may find that your relations with your family are toxic. It might be tempting to sweep it under the rug and say, I'll just suck it up on Christmas and Thanksgiving, but don't be afraid to cut people out of your life if they are making it worse. Anyone. Genetics aren't a free pass to abuse. Travel. In your 20s, you're still young enough to get out there in the world on the cheap, put up with hostels and guest houses, chicken buses, and other craziness of the Lonely Planet lifestyle. You'll have great experiences that you'll never experience at the Bangkok Hilton. And with some common sense and preparation, you'll be fine. Save the package deals and all drinks included cruises for later in life when you'll need them. Story 21. Realize that you will be 40 someday. Seriously, it's that simple. Just think ahead about your future and where you're going. If you happen to be doing stupid things like using drugs or committing crimes, don't think that you're going to get away with it forever, or it will have no impact. Think that stuff through, like what could happen to your life in various scenarios. Really good way to stop negative behavior. The other one is learn all of the life skills that you can. How to repair cars, repair homes, generally do things. You would be surprised how often professionals, or at least labeled professionals, mess up various tasks. This is everything from dentists to mechanics. Story 22. Don't waste time judging, picking sides, etc. During a friend's divorce, I sided with him because he was a friend and I had heard irrefutable evidence of fuckery. Then I spoke with her at a party one night. Short version, they were both fucked. Like, don't try figuring out who's more bad. At that moment, I stopped judging and wasting time figuring out who's right and wrong. Everyone is messed up and doing their best. You don't know the truth, unless it happened to you. And even then, don't believe it. It frees up headspace. There are dozens more over 40 epiphanies I've acknowledged, haha. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Be sure to write comments and share your stories.